Welcome to another episode of the Holistic Sister Circle. Today we have Maricel Rocha here with us from Argentina, now lives in California. She is a natural rejuvenation coach focusing on slowing aging and extending health span through personalized rejuvenation. With a background in biotechnology, yoga, and Reiki energy healing, she simplifies science for her clients, integrating holistic health and positive intelligence to boost mental fitness and lifestyle optimization, supporting feeling younger for longer. Maricel, I'm so happy to have you. I know when we first talked about rejuvenation and sales and biotech, you are just an optimum of experience. And I'm just so excited to have this opportunity to really connect with you and learn more about your world. So for us to just get started, can you just share a little bit about who you are and how you got into rejuvenation coaching?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me here. It's an honor to get to talk to you and your audience. My story comes from Argentina. I was born and raised over there, and my education was in biochemistry and biotechnology. So my story flows in emerging from the science background into holistic or integrative health coaching that I'm currently doing. I live now in LA, as you mentioned, and I focus my practice into rejuvenation because I find that prevention is way easier than cure. So through the science of epigenetics, which is my area of expertise, which is everything above the gene, not what you bring in your genes, but everything that affects the regulation of the gene expression through life factors. So my goal is to identify and improve all the things we can do through our lifestyle choices to make our health, to make our life better so that we can prevent diseases, we have more vitality, and we slow down our aging.
Wow, this is a huge topic in itself. Can you talk a little more about how our genes play a role in rejuvenation and anti-aging?
Yes. So we used to think that everything was written in our genes. And then, like 20 years ago, when the Genome Project was about to sequence all the genes in the human genome, we thought we're going to find, we'll find all the answers to all these questions, aging, disease, and everything else. However, what happened was that once we identified all the sequences, we got to connect actually genes with outcomes, but we couldn't explain why people age faster than others, or why, people who are in their 50, they look like 10 years younger, or vice versa. Some people look at the mirror and they say, oh my gosh, I look so old and I'm only 40, things like that. So what is the reason why some people, age faster than others is in epigenetics. And epigenetics covers the mechanism that makes a good gene to get activated. That's what we want. And the bad genes to be suppressed or silent. So there's a whole machinery inside of cells that makes sure that that happens in a good way. And as we age, we start losing that efficiency in those molecular mechanisms. So science now is identifying why that happens and what are the things we can do to prevent that happening too fast.
This is incredible. I literally have so many questions just from what you were saying. Now, okay, just let me clear my mind for a second. So the first one was, I know what you were saying about, why do I look so old and I'm only 40? There's so many people, especially women, I obviously for a long time, we have been really identified from a beauty, right? It's like, how beautiful can I be? How in shape can how most in shape can I look? And that's how we attract the attention of others and things of that nature. And that's how we identify themselves. Obviously, with men, it's more of status and money, right? But for women, it's all about beauty. So can you share, what is it that you found that we need to do to ensure that we do continue to stay along the line of what we deem as beautiful within the age range that we're in?
Mm. Yeah, that's a great question. And I have this all the time because in our culture, we want to cover, right? It's easier to just wear makeup or just use external things to make us look younger because that, we associate that into success or better life or, personal successful lives. But let me tell you, I have 3 teenagers, and this is the same story I tell them in regards to their skincare. They have 2 options. They can cover if they have acne, if they have imperfections in their face, or they can prevent that to happen. What would be better? Would you rather apply products on your skin to cover? In our case, we're talking about, wrinkles because we're talking about aging. Or would you rather prevent them to happen? Right? So my approach is to rejuvenate from the inside out so that you have double option. You will be younger, your skin will be much better. And then on top of that, if you want to use makeup, that of course is, not harming your skin, your system, then great. But what I found through my research is that before we navigate into interventions that talk about, gene therapy, or now there are people, you can take this from 0 to, no limit. But my approach is, instead of looking for solutions like the magic pill or the magic intervention or the most expensive clinic I can go to get my wrinkles better, things like that, let's start by focusing on stop doing the things that are harming us, right? So it's like we are aging continuously from the time we're born, from the time of conception, we're actually aging. So to me, it was very interesting to find what are the things we can do to reduce the pace of aging, to put a little break and say, hey, before I do something in the future, let's make sure that I cover and I stop all the harm. So that's my approach. And that's why I call it natural rejuvenation. I help people, doing this in a healthy way, in a natural way.
Right. What does this process look like?
So through my research, I found 7 pillars, and I put together this blueprint that I call the 7 pillars of youth, that you cannot neglect any of them. You have to work on those. You could have, and let me tell you what they are. They are nutrition, optimize of, all these areas we work on optimizing. So it's the optimization of 7 areas of lifestyle. Sleep is one of them, nutrition, mindset, exercise, environmental exposure, how we cope with stress and emotional stress. And the last one is cultivation of joy. So what I found is that you could be perfectly doing most of them, but if you are not taking care of your environment and the things you are exposed to, for example, the epigenetic will reflect and the aging process will be accelerated.
Wow. And you know what's so interesting? All of the things that you mentioned are things that you would think are just standard, like normal things that you should probably be doing anyway. So, what have you found just in your research where people are say they're aging, right? What is it like? How many years are they getting back from this process using the 7 pillars?
So let me explain a little bit the difference about chronological age and biological age. So chronological age is the time since we have been born, right? It's what we celebrate each year. Now, biological age is actually the age that you manifest in your system, in your physiology, and we call it the phenotype. So through your decisions and your lifestyle, maybe you're sleep deprived, maybe you're not eating well, maybe you are exposed to toxic chemicals. So for any reasons, your epigenome or the regulation of your healthy genes is being impaired and you're aging faster than you should. So finally, lately, in the last couple of years, science came up with epigenetic test that actually measures that biological age. So, it's optional to my clients. It's a little pricey, but it's totally worth it because once you learn that your biological age is older than your chronological age, it's time to action, right? That's a red flag for me. So my goal is to reduce that biological age younger than your chronological age.
Wow. And when it is reduced, what happens then?
So I can give you my example. When I took the test, I was 2 years younger than my chronological age. And I was very happy about it. But I have clients that are much more younger than their chronological age. And I was jealous. So I started, learning and taking notes. And now the test not only gave me my biological age, my pace of aging, but it also gave me a information for me to specifically do the things that will move the needle for me, right? So I can create a customized rejuvenation plan depending on those results. So my approach, it's like, imagine it's a journey. And I tell my clients, a very prudent goal is to reduce 3 years, become 3 years younger in your biological age. But my plan for this year, when I take the test again, is to reduce 5 years, my biological age. And as I said, it's like a journey from point A to B. And I get to take my clients to 7 different cities. And one of them is all about sleep. So we make sure, they improve their sleep. The other one, it's all about the mindset. That's another big deal. The other one is all nutrition and so on. So each person will have a different journey because, some people will need to, focus more urgently to the way they sleep, for example. That's a common one. Sleep and stress are the two areas that most people have to, room to improve and the urgency to fix.
Right. No, this is some great information, especially for someone, again, we are in a society where beauty is so important and it really matters, and we put on the makeup to make us look younger and look like we have brighter skin, and when it comes to lights and cameras and all of that in your face all of the time, especially if you're creating content or whatever, you're doing, it can be a lot on the skin and on the body in general. Now, with the different areas of the focus, so say someone is taking this test and you give them their own framework of what they need to do, their own guide, how long does it take before they typically see results? And I know, of course, every person is different, but just on average, what does that look like?
It takes about 2 to 3 months. My recommendation, the minimum, is 3 months because when I start working with them, we invest a few weeks into the mindset. making adjustments into your lifestyle choices is hard because you come with habits, and it's really hard to break those habits and add the new ones. So we invest part of the program into, growing that positive mindset, prepare something that I'm coaching my clients into, something called mental fitness. So they have the determination, they have their will to do it. And, whenever they face peer pressure or an opportunity, if we're working on like reducing the amounts of drinks per week, and they go out and they feel the pressure, they will be able to say no, or they know when to stop, or, making better decisions that will stay for life. Because in this case, it's not like losing weight and then avoiding the yo-yo dieting, right? This is rejuvenating and keeping that state of being young or younger for longer. Because the whole idea here is to expand the concept of health span, which is the time that we are alive in optimal health.
Right. And I know you said too that you took the test again because you wanted to get down from 2 years to 5 years. How often should we take the test? Is it a yearly thing, or what does that look like?
So the baseline, I partnered up with a lab because I really like the way they created this test and the algorithms they use. They partnered up with Harvard Medical School to do this biobank where they get to run the algorithms against a bank of data of many, many people, thousands, who offer, volunteer their samples, and they run the numbers. So now we get those through machine learning, those algorithms through this lab, and they can project and estimate, what would your, for example, glucose level look like? So all that information about the markers are being given by these proxies, which are, virtual numbers. But then when we go and check in real life and take the test, the real test, they are very accurate. So that test, it's called the complete. My suggestion is to take it once a year. But then there's a simplified version of that test that only measures the pace of aging, and it also includes the length of telomeres and a couple of other, age markers. But basically, will tell you if you were able to slow down the aging process in just 3 months. So that would be the standard procedure is take the complete at the beginning of the process. 3 months later, after interventions, you take the pace of aging test. And then a year after, the first time you test it, then you take the other one. And then you can claim, like, instead of saying, oh, I lost 10 pounds, you can say, I rejuvenated 5 years.
Oh, I love that. Now, what if there's someone who maybe they already have diabetes, or maybe they already have a chronic illness, and they're looking to rejuvenate themselves too. Is the process a bit different for them because they've already been diagnosed?
No, it's the same process, but the beauty of this is that part of the results come with a risk assessment for chronic diseases, specifically 4 of them. One is type 2 diabetes. Then the other one is cancer, cognitive or dementia, and cardiovascular disease. So you can see in your results the percentage of risk that you have to develop that specific disease, and it gives you 1 year, 3 years, 5 years.
Wow.
So it's very visual, eye-opening, because if you don't do anything and you continue your life as is until that moment that you took the test, that's the probability, we'll say something like 20% probability to develop type 2 diabetes in 3 years, right? But then it also shows that by reducing 1, 3, 5 years your biological age, it will tell you the number that it goes down. You reduce the risk. So if you already have a diagnosis and you take the test, it will give you probably, higher numbers, but you will also learn from those results that if you go through interventions that help you reduce your biological age for 3 or 5 years, then you will probably manage better the condition and it's like pushing away the onset. I cannot say that it will revert if you are already there, but it can certainly improve because all the markers of aging are very closely related to the markers for chronic diseases.
Wow. No, this is some good stuff. I appreciate you, Maricel, for even sharing this with us. Now, just for sake of time, I'm like, I could talk to you all day, but if our community just wanted to connect with you further and learn more about just you and the resources that you have, can you share about how they can connect with you?
Yes, I would say the easiest way is find me in the social media channels. I have an account in Facebook, Instagram, and Maricel Coaching. And my webpage is just my name, maricelrocha.com. And also my email address is maricel@maricelrocha.com. Just people can send me an email and we can start talking, and, I can help them decide if the test is a good idea for them at this precise moment. It's optional. I really like it because, coming from the biotech world, this is, it's going to replace, you will remember this conversation in 5 or I don't even think that it's going to be even 5 years. One day soon, your doctor will not need from you so many vials of blood when you go for a routine test. They will get you this DNA methylation profile from a few drops of your blood. And only if markers are showing a projection to be, out of normal, then you will have to do the real test. So this is a revolution in the clinic that we are, familiar with because it gives us anticipation and it creates awareness on just the things we need to improve compared to, just, eat organic or, sleep better. It's not like that. It will actually tell you what you need to do to develop a healthier lifestyle.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for your time. We're so grateful that you just took the time just to share this with us. This is some powerful information. So definitely, if you're connecting with Maricel, you're going to be in for a treat. So thank you, Maricel. We appreciate you.
Thank you. This was lovely. Thank you.
Queen, thank you so much for tuning in. It truly warms our heart that you're taking the time out of your day to connect with us. If you'd like to connect with our guests further, you can find their information located in the description section of this episode. And if you found this episode helpful, share with another queen. And don't forget to connect with the Holistic Sister Circle on Instagram and Facebook. And until next week, stay blessed. Mwah.